Hello, Daryl here. The channel is Programming in Any Language. The supporting website is programminginanylanguage.com or black-duck.com. They both take you to the same place. And it's a place where you'll find the videos and PDFs of the code. The video is Static Class Members, Methods. Static methods are convenient for many tasks because they can be called directly from the class as they are needed. They are frequently used in utility classes that perform operations on data but have no need to collect or store the data. In this video, we again use the game-playing dice roll app but with a difference. The static method will accept the number of players playing the game and divide that number into a fixed dollar amount. Each player will then be given a specific amount of cash at the beginning of the game. This class can be used in any game and provides the dice roll function and a specific dollar amount for each player. This video shows you how. Up to now, we've been doing pretty much the static class members trilogy. We started out with fields, then we looked at properties, and now we're going to look at methods. In each of the previous two videos, we saw a review of instance properties, instance fields that you could use. And we're going to have the same review in this video as well, in case you did not see it in the previous ones, or you're just looking at the static class members methods for the first time. But it will be here. You can skip past it if you need to, if you've already seen it, and go into the part where I'm actually putting an application together. But let's look at static methods once. They're different than fields and properties. Fields and properties, you could almost interchange them in how you would actually use them. Methods is something a little bit different. When a class contains a static method, it is not necessary to create an instance of the class to execute the method. A static method is created by placing a static keyword after the access specifier in the method header. Static methods are convenient for many tasks because they can be called directly from the class as needed. They are most often used to create utility classes that perform operations on data but have no need to collect or store data. And we're going to see something like that. We're going to use the dice application we use in properties and fields. And instead of counting them, we can still do the count. That's no problem there. But we're going to actually use the properties to figure out how many people are going to be playing the game. And based on playing the game, we're going to take an amount of money and divide it amongst those players. We're going to use that method to take a fixed amount of money and split it between a number of players. We don't know the number of players. It might be 2, it might be 4, it might be 6. The method will take that into account and actually divide it by the number of players we're going to pass the method. So we'll take a look at that in a bit. First of all, let's look at a review of the static instances. Let's review the instance fields and instance methods first so we get an idea of where we're going with this thing. Right now, we know that each instance of a class has its own set of fields, instance fields. You can create several instances of a class and store different values in each instance. For example, given a class named dice, to create a dice object, we use dice, myDice equal new dice. What's going to happen is we're going to create a myDice object, an instance of a dice object right here. MyDice is a variable that references the object of the dice class. The new keyword creates an instance of the dice class, and the equal operator assigns the reference that was returned from the new operator to the myDice variable. What does all that mean? Well, it means this. Once the dice object is created, you can access members of the class with the myDice type role. So we've created that dice class here. And if we instantiate it, we then can get at the role right here by actually doing the role, which does nothing more than create a random number generator, creates a number between 0 and 5, which we had 1 to, so we get 1 through 6, just like the sides of a dice. And then we use a switch to figure out which side we're looking at, giving us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, which we can use as an index to an image list to bring back pictures or whatever of a dice if we wanted to. And that's what we're going to do. So myDice role creates this, and then the statement that stores a value in the side of field that belongs to the instance, that is my reference of myDice. Now we can do 2 myDice roles. And what will happen then is we're actually instantiating 2 different dice classes. And we'd have 2 different roles. So we could have 2 dice side by side. One could have a 2 in it, one might have a 5 in it. That basically allows us to roll 2 dice. Classes can have instance methods as well. When called, it performs an operation on a specific instance of the class. We have myDice1 roll, and we have PBX picture box or image is equal to the image list dice images, and we have the index right here. The myDice1 get side up gives us that index to the image list, which then is passed to the picture box, allowing us to display a picture of a piece of dice on the screen. The last statement calls the getSideUp method, which returns an index to the list image, letting the picture box display that image of one side of the die. And since both of the instance fielder and instance method are associated with an instance of the class, they cannot be used until an instance of the class has been actually created. We have to actually create it first. Looks kind of like this. We have my dice equal new dice. So this is actually instantiating the dice class. Once we did that, we can do mydice.roll and actually roll the dice. And then we can grab that picture. So right here, we're doing the roll. And right here, we're doing the roll. Notice we have two dice actually being generated here, dice 1 and dice 2. And then what it does, it goes through this case and brings back that index, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, to the getSideUp piece. And we end up then being able to display a picture of the dice. Looks something like this. We'd have multiple screens. We have some game of who knows what. We'll actually play the game. And what will happen is we'll end up with this roll dice form that comes up. We can roll the dice or exit if we want. If we roll the dice, we end up with two dice showing up here. The index is now giving us this particular piece, which we can put to the image list and put it on a picture box. Let's take a look and see how this actually works. We're going to create a new project. That project is going to be called Dice App Demo. And we're going to place it in a folder I've already established, the sandbox. I'm going to change this form to be roughly 435 by 375. I'm going to place a couple of objects on it. One will be the exit button exit, and the other will be the play game button, which will be called button play game. I expanded the font so we can see it a little better, but that's basically it. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be able to play a game. That's going to bring up a dice form. So I'm going to need a dice form right now, or a roll dice form. So I'm going to go to my application right here. I'm going to add a new item. And it's going to be a Windows form. And we'll call this thing roll dice. And that creates that particular form right there. My roll dice form is going to be 298 by 279. And in it, I'll place a few more objects. We're going to place a picture box, PBX Dice 1 and PBX Dice 2. So this will hold the image, or show an image of two dice, the sides of two dice, so whatever we roll. This will be button roll. It's going to BTN roll. It's going to actually roll the dice for us by using the class. And this will be our exit button, which will get us out of that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the class. So I'm going to go right here again, and I'm going to say add a new item. This time we're going to add a class. And we're going to call that class Dice. And it comes up with its beginning code here. What I'm going to do in the code, I'm going to create a field to represent the side facing up, side up. I'm then going to place the constructor. Public dice 1, side up equals 1. I'm establishing it as 1 right now, but we'll change that through a rolling method. I place that rolling method right here. And what we're going to do is basically create a method called roll. It's going to take in an integer, int roll, and that integer is going to be randomized. We're going to create a random number generator. It's going to create something from 0 through 5, ran next 6. We're going to add 1 to it, so we have 1 through 6 in int roll when we actually establish it. Once we have 1 through 6 in there, we can use a case or a switch statement to go through and see what side is actually up, what actually came up. And whatever it is, we're going to send that number to side up, which is going to represent the side of the dice that is actually showing. That's all we have to do there. Now, we're also going to create a method to get side up. We're going to return it. So we'll add this routine right here, public inst to get side up, and return side up. So we're creating another method here of get side up so we can actually return side up to whatever calls it. So that's our class. Method to return the side up field. That's all we have to do for this thing. So that creates that. So now we have a class here that we can start working with and start using. With that in place, we can go back to our sum game design and write the code for these things. All this thing is going to do is call the roll dice form, and all this is going to do is exit our program. So we'll do the exit first. And then we'll do the play game. What the play game button does is it uses the roll dice form, creates a copy of it, an instance of it, and we have a new roll dice up here. So we're going to create a My Dice image out there, a form. And then we're going to show it. And we're going to give it the focus, so we have to stay on it until we actually exit off that form. Does this thing work right now? Should. There, the start. You know what I actually want to do too is I want to take both these forms before I do that. And I want to have them come up in the middle. The starting position, I want to be center screen. That's there. I also want to go to my roll dice design, and I want to have this thing start out center parent. Now we can see if we're actually on the right track here. Form moves up, play game is there, exit button's there, play game's there, hit it. It does bring up the roll dice form. These things don't work yet because we haven't coded them. So I'll click off this. Actually, when I see this, you can see that I have to. It's a modal form, so I have to exit this out before I can get back to here and actually close this. So this button is actually, this form right here is done. It does everything it needs to do. What I need now to do is create the code for the roll dice form. Well, the easiest thing to do, the exit button first. So we'll do that guy. We'll close this form. And we're going to need one other object on here. We're going to need an image. So we'll create the image dice down here. It's going to contain all the images of the die we might have. And right now that collection is empty. No, it's actually got stuff in it. Okay, it's got stuff in it already. Brought it in from the copy that I just did. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items in here. So we have things out there that it's actually getting. And we have the size, 121 through 135 of the dice that are there. These things look like this. I have out my graphics area. And you can see that they look like something like this. There's what your dice looks like. So we're going to grab those. So what I need to do here is I want to actually write the code for the roll dice click event. What we're going to do here is we're going to put in that code. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to generate an instance of the dice. Dice, my dice equal new dice. That's going to create the instance for dice 1. Then we're going to generate roll for dice 1 and display it. So my dice roll, we're going to call that method for my dice 1 roll. And we're going to actually take that, whatever we get back, into get side up and put it into the images file and display it in the picture box dice 1. We're going to do it again for dice 2. We're going to generate roll for dice 2 and display it. Again, we use my dice roll, my dice 1 roll. So we're only using the one instance that we actually did here. And we're going to roll it. And what's going to happen is we're going to end up in picture box 2. We're going to take whatever came up and put that dice in there as well. And that's it. That's all we need to do. Do file save on this. Our picture boxes are ready. We should be ready to go on this thing. So we're going to take a look and see what happens. Here's our play game. We can roll our dice. Up comes a pair of 2s. We can exit this out and exit this out. And we're good to go. Run it again. Play game calls the modal form, roll dice. We can't get off this. We actually have to do something on it. We'll roll our dice. We get a 5. Roll it again. We get a pair of 4s. Get out. Exit. So that seems to be working. And that's all using instances of classes. And what we end up with is our class, our some games box, and some kind of game could be in here where we'd actually use, and we have a roll dice routine that's going to be popped up right inside there. And that's the extent of it. That's all we need to do. That brings us to static class members. So far we've looked at the objects that have been instantiated, and we'll look at instances of the classes. A static class member belongs to the class, not to the object instantiated from the class. There's a difference there. So that means that the class is going to contain a variable or an object or whatever, and the instantiations, the instances of all the classes, aren't going to make a difference to it. Just that one piece is going to be there. So a static class member belongs to the class, not to the object instantiated from the class. As we just saw, each instance of the class has its own set of instance fields and instance methods. Instance fields and instance methods are associated with a specific instance of the class. We can create a field property or method that does not belong to any instance of the class. These are known as static fields, static properties, and static methods. We're going back to our first application to show us how we can use static methods in a program. Now, these are things that we can simply create in a class that can be used by anything, by accessing the class to get it. We're going to try something a little different this time. I'm going to take this form right here, and I'm going to add these pieces of these objects to the form. We're going to add a label in here that I'm going to call LBL enter. I'm also going to call this text box right here TXT players. And we're going to have a go button in here. That's button go. The idea is we're going to create a method in our class that's going to have $1,000 in it. So we play the game, we got $1,000 to play with. We're going to enter the number of players, and the number of players is going to be divided into that $1,000 to give us the amount each player is going to receive when they play the game. In other words, if you have 2 players in the game, you're going to get $500 a piece. 4 players in the game, you're going to get $250 a piece. But the method is going to, the method inside the class is going to help determine what that is. So let's take a look at that. I need to go out to my dice class and make those changes. What I'm going to be doing, this stays the same. Dice up side up stays the same. I'm going to create a static method right under side up here. Static double starting value int players. It's going to receive the number of players, and it's going to take that and divide 1,000 by the number of players and return the results on that thing. So this method is going to automatically do that for us. Do we need anything else? No. Everything else is going to stay the same. This is going to be our button roll. We're going to have all that, and we're not going to show the count anymore because we got rid of the instance count. But we're just showing the method itself that we're actually doing it. We're creating a method that's going to allow us to do something in our class. Do we need to do anything to our roll dice? No, nothing gets changed here. In our some games, however, we have added some things to the field here. We're going to take the Play Games button, and we're going to disable it, make it unenabled. These particular items right here are going to be enabled. So what we're going to be doing basically is we're going to be hitting the Go button. That's going to do our coding for us. What's the Go button going to do? Well, what it's going to do, we're going to leave this code, and I have an error right here because we have a label for enter player starting value is going to be in here. So in our form, we need to lower this guy a little bit. And we need to add one more object. This object right here, which is an invisible object called label player starting value. And right now it's got nothing in it. So now when we look at our code, that error is gone. We're going to be taking a number of players. This is going to hold the number of players. This is going to hold the starting amount. This grabs that text file, reads number of players. This guy then use class method to determine starting value. This is what's going to go off and determine what we actually are playing. And notice we're using the dice class, not an instance of the class, but the dice class itself We're asking for the double starting value method, and we're passing it the number of players, which just determines up here. Once we've got that, we can display the value. And I'm just going to put down in here that we're going to clean up the screen by basically enabling the player game button and disabling the go button, the enter button, and the text players thing. That's all we need to do. So basically, we're working with the class itself. We're making use of this method we put in here. Very simple method. Nothing much here, but it's not going to work. Take our start button here. We're going to notice play game is not set up there. We'll put in 4 players are going to play this game, whatever the game is going to be. Hit go on here, and each player starts at $250. It took that method, knew it had $1,000 to play with, divide it by 4, and we start each player with $250. Now we can play the game, and the game does the roll dicing again. Nothing's changed there. We can get it back out, and this is all sitting the same way. Play it again, still roll, we get 5s. By the way, the random number generator is not perfect. You're going to often get duplicates like this. You're going to get the same thing. It starts with the same seed each time, and you have to do some special things to make it more randomized, like use the clock, use a second hand on there to find out where you are, so you can add that to the results and make a change to it. You can read about that in Microsoft's website, but that is a problem with the random number generator. It's not perfect. So let's get out of here, exit out, and basically that's how to use methods in a class, static methods. And you can see what we actually did here. We went ahead, we created that starting value in players, return $1,000 divided by that. So this is going to give us our method here. So all we did was parse our number of players here to get the number of players, and we had the starting amount. What is that going to be? What's going to be calling the dice method and passing it there. That's going to grab it, put the players in there, make it all happen, and we end up with that $250 showing up right in here and making it all work. So that's static methods. Now that we can do static methods, you'll find them in use in other applications on the website. Well, now that we've made fields, properties, and methods static, it is only logical that we create a static class. Look for that in the next video. Thanks for watching. Visit the website when you get a chance. And please subscribe to the channel. You'll find more stuff there every week. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.